She shakes her head and tells you that she's never met the man, but there was a time, very recently, where she might have had love of his treasure.
Has any of you managed? Did any of you make it any further into the chambers and then come back here? Do any of you know what's ahead of this?
She tells you that it was different for all of us. Our stories don't match.
Good. So it's a fun house, like our old friend and back in Blue Worm.
She tells you that Lord Taker provides this room that she's in here as a sort of loophole that they're all now trapped in to ensure that his vaults cannot be robbed. And she says this kind of very matter-of-factly, like she's explaining something you should already know.
Do you know of a way to avoid this situation to where you can escape?
She kind of laughs sadly and tells you that if she did, she would do so.
I was just wondering if maybe it had something to do with people working in concert on the outside of this room. But I'll keep my eyes open in that regard.
I have a question, like mechanically. Alex, do you mind giving me do you have like a short piece of rope? Like, no, I don't want to like use a whole 50-foot rope here.
Yeah, sure. Alex will cut off 4 feet of rope.
Okay, I'm gonna tie a knot in both ends, and I'm just going to push the rope, like just kind of toss one end of the knot in.
Okay.
So it's like on both sides of at the same time, like kind of like Schrodinger's rope. It's both on this side and that side of the portal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and pull it back.
While they're grabbing one end, or you're just
no, I'm just trying to pull the
fishing line.
Yeah, just trying to pull the rope back. See, like
Gotcha.
if there's an object is in the process of being in the portal, is it one way?
At this, the barrier, who's been standing behind the woman this whole time, smiles broadly and yells out, "Finally, some sport!" He hears that you two have been conversing in common, so he switches to common as well. And he leaps forward and grabs the rope and starts tugging on it with all of his strength.
Oh, I let go.
Let go? Then he kind of bowls backwards for a moment, but he catches himself. He's got 4 legs on the ground. And then he really quickly, hand over hand, grabs the length of rope over and over and over. He's pulling more and more and more of it through the door.
It's just 4 feet of rope, so it's not like...
And now he has all of it.
Well...
And he calls out. He holds the rope over his head and turns and shows his companions. "Ha ha! I am triumphant!"
Lucius, golf claps.
Gus face palms. Says, "All right, have fun." And he turns around and leaves.
Is anyone else doing anything at the door?
What loophole? You mentioned a loophole.
She tells you that Lord Taker spent years spent years being one of the few, if not the only, wealthy man in Sigil who was able to keep his treasures secure after the faction war. Nobody knows how he does it until they all came into the vault, and now she understands how it's done.
Lucius takes out his playing card set, pulls a card out of the deck, scratches an L and an E into it in common.
Okay.
And tosses it across the door to her and says, "I'll be back for that."
She tells you that you will be back eventually if the vault. It's either this room or face inevitable starvation. but I would urge you to give it your best try at least. And she
As I always do.
takes the card and tucks it into one of her robes.
So,
All right. Before we go any further, I cast Goodberry.
Okay.
I give everyone a Goodberry.
And as soon as you cast Goodberry, no sooner do you place the berries in your companion's hands that they blacken and wither away until they're just a small, inky smudge on your palm.
Gotcha.
This
Excellent.
This seems like something just born out of negating this magic seems to just be born out of spite.
Connor, you're
How
the
many times?
one. You're the one lowest down the slope. Where do you go next? Are you?
Connor thanks him for the information, though. But I guess we're going to try before we exhaust ourselves trying to solve this vault.
bet you that portal goes to the sex dungeon.
And as you climb, you think Keelan only has one sex dungeon?
No, like the main one.
Oh,
The one where everybody has a main?
McDohl, I request that you remind everybody what Keelan's flaw is.
it was, I forget how I phrased it, but it was something like, when I think with my penis, I can't be wrong. Something like that.
Something like that.
As you guys are climbing up the slope, the door automatically closes.
Well, that's convenient.
And the slope becomes dark once again. What's next?
Continue up the slope, I suppose.
Okay, bear with me just 1 second. Are we kind of maintaining a marching order, or are we fanning out as we go?
Lucius is kind of keeping within arm's reach of the left-hand side of the chamber.
I'm gonna keep Scrappy next to Lucius, and Alex is gonna hang back a bit.
Okay. The area continues to widen as you go for a little while, but eventually you reach a second landing that looks much like the first. It's a little 5-foot spot that evens out, and there's another simple, unassuming door.
Alexander, over here. Got another door, maybe to another guest chamber.
Alex will search for traps.
So,
Make an
Yashnar,
investigation check.
Yep.
Gus, what were you saying?
I was going to ask Yashnar what he knew about Lord Taker.
He tells you that Lord Taker took power shortly after the faction war. That there was a time when he was a traveling companion of the woman who founded his temple. But he does not know a lot of details about the man personally other than that.
I think he was also his landlord at one point.
Was he?
That's
I think so.
Then he would definitely... I don't remember that. But if that was the case, then yes, he would know that as well. Did Keelan own the temple?
At some point. I'm pretty sure at some point he did. But of course, Riot was always operating 3 layers deep of deception on a good day.
Do you remember
Sorry,
if Keelan... Did Keelan own the Temple of Osprey, on paper?
Yeah, he did.
Well, all right then. Then yeah,
Remember, Riot wanted no part of ownership or traces of her identity or something like that.
Listen, I don't have organized notes for this campaign, let alone 2 campaigns ago. If that's the case, then yes, Yashnars would be able to relay that to this day, Lord Taker still owns the premises the temple is inside, but shows little interest in its operations as long as the relevant fees are paid.
Perhaps out of respect or admiration for his former companion? I mean, I don't know how adventurers work.
But yeah, more than that, he doesn't really know. He doesn't have any personal details about the man.
That's a 17 on investigation.
Again, the door doesn't seem to have a locking mechanism, let alone any kind of trap. And this time you don't sense any sort of magic looming on the door or the area beyond.
Seems clear.
All right.
Do you want to? Screw it. Leaves the Ashnars. Make sure he's steady. I'm
Okay.
just gonna open the door, stride forward, and open the door.
Okay. As soon as you open the door, you hear a kind of scratchy, but not unpleasant music. The room is carpeted on the floor, and you can see years and years of disrespect that this carpet has had to endure. Muddy boot prints, places where it's been torn up, places where the carpeting is unraveled in great heaps or chunks. I can't even tell what color it was originally. But along the left-hand side, you see another door exiting the room. And along the back is a glass cabinet. Inside the glass cabinet is the origin of the sound you're hearing. There is some sort of horn-looking device, the back end of which is attached inside of a box. It's just this brown kind of square box, and on the side of it is a crank, and it's being cranked very smoothly and very methodically by a mechanical arm that disappears into the south wall. So it's just cranking out this relatively pleasant but very scratchy sounding music.
Is Lord Taker an artificer? Because
I certainly hope not.
I feel like, no offense, Alex, but artificers are, I don't like them.
I've had enough. I've had enough of Artificer fun houses for one lifetime. Thank you very much.
Kind of hesitant to go in because if I get trapped in here,
Let's make our way across the entirety of this slope and see where it ends.
yeah,
Or
let's,
pick a room.
yeah,
So we're going to leave this room for now?
yep.
Yeah.
I'll leave it for now.
Okay.
Leave the door open, Gustavus. I want to see something.
As you guys continue
As
up the slope, if nobody closes that door, it does not close. And Lucius, you see that the slope begins to narrow again. And you see two more landings, one north and one south. Beyond the north landings, I'm going to draw a line here-ish, is the top of the slope. And it's very abrupt, to the point where 5 feet beyond the top, I mean, you can see the walls continue to curve away, but you can't see the floor. It's like you climbing up to the very top of a steep roof, and you can't see the slope on the other side from where you are.
okay. I'll describe that to the others, and then say 2 doors, each on the either side of the corridor here.
So I'll send Scrappy to here, and I'll check this door for traps.
Stepping up to this door, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Or 24.
Looks identical to the previous 2 doors,
except
this one has a sign on it. And as you approach the sign, it's covered in some sort of alphabet that you can't read. But as you approach, the sign, the markings on the sign magically move and change until they create a Gnomish line of script, which reads, "Entrance, no admittance."
relay that to my companions. I'll go over here and check this door while I'm at it.
Well, as your companions are looking at it, the script seems to move and shift to make the same line in whatever their native tongue is. Entrance.
And the other
no
investigate is a 28.
This door is a little stranger. in that it looks like it's completely made out of metal instead of being a wooden door with metal bands. It has the same kind of knob, but looking at the mechanism, you don't think it is the same kind of knob. It looks a lot sturdier. In fact, it doesn't look like it'll turn in either direction. It looks like it's just static on the door, and it has to either be pulled or pushed. You notice down at the bottom of the door, where it meets the floor, are a series of 6 or 7 grooves or channels. Just kind of bore through the very bottom of the door. It doesn't look like damage. It looks like it was built this way deliberately. But you just see darkness in the room beyond when you hunker down and look.
Oh, those are your 3 options.
What does Lucius see when he hunkers down and looks?
You just the floor on the other side. I mean, imagine laying on the floor and trying to look at the room beyond through the crack. That's all the information you really get.
Yeah.
It's not sloped, though. It's all of these little landings go into what looks like even rooms.
Lucius reaches forward to this door and tests it, but he's not going to open it. But would it open?
Yeah, it would.
Okay. Lucius steps back and says, "And this door's unlocked. Does say no admittance."
So mechanical question about how warlocks work. You've got the warlock light switch, right? Does that is it just vision coming out of your brain, or like if you look out at your familiar's brain, does that work too?
Oh, I think find familiar.
Like I just was wondering if like the warlock light switch works for.
By warlock light switch, he means his ability to see in the magical darkness.
Yes. Like if he looks out of his familiar's eyes, does that extend to that?
It says, while your familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate telepathically. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of your next turn, gaining the benefits of any special senses that the familiar has.
So that suggests to me that the familiar has a particular set of senses, and Lucius does not convey any senses he has to the familiar. So,
Gotcha.
So the familiar would not get his ability to see magical darkness, but if the familiar had, say, true sight, Lucius would get the benefit of true sight through the familiar's eyes.
Yeah.
Right. You want to... You can summon your... Do you have to summon the familiars on... Never mind, forget it.
It takes an hour to summon a familiar, doesn't it?
I have.
If you've got one summoned, then you can just... They go to a pocket dimension when you don't want to use them.
Okay.
Yeah, my familiar is temporarily dismissed, right?
Okay.
But I don't. Yeah, but yeah, it's like I don't know that I can just drop it in a room that I at a sight unseen. You know.
It says appearing in an unoccupied space within range. Typically what that means is you have to have line of effect to the space. You don't have to necessarily see the space, but it has to be something you can affect.
Right, and we can see under the door here. That's why I was...
Oh, under this door. Yeah, sure. You can summon a familiar on the other side of that door because there are holes that you can see through. You can affect the other side. But this door does not have those.
Okay. Yeah, a little Amshun. Let's see what you can see in there.
Okay. And your familiar was what? A potbelly pig?
A weasel.
Nobody picks potbelly pig.
That's not
Is that
one of
an
the
option?
choices. Listen, if you let that be one of the choices, I will play a wizard in the next campaign, and that will be my familiar.
Only if somebody else plays the familiar. Remember when I said as long as the weather holds at 61 degrees? It hasn't.
Is it filling?
It's starting to get very, very warm. Okay, so you're summoning the weasel on the other side of the door. Can the weasel see in magical darkness?
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay.
This is it's an infernal.
Well, it has the stat block of a weasel.
Yeah.
And I think the weasel probably does have some kind of heightened sense, but not like special blind sight.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that stat block up now. Please bear with me.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much risk are you willing to allow your weasel to assume?
I'm gonna say 8.
Yeah, weasel doesn't even have dark vision. What it has is keen hearing and smell.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to say
So-
8s.
So with that, what I with that information, since what I would say is just what kind of smells is this guy getting in right here in the vicinity of the door, right here.
The smell of standing water. Like water that's just been left to sit in a basin, whereas the water in the previous room you looked into looks like it was being replenished and was staying relatively clean. There's a source of water in this room that just seems fetid. Like it's just been standing there. So to a weasel sense, like, yeah, it's water, but it's not good to drink.
Yeah. I'm gonna recall him then.
Okay. What's next?
And then I'll describe that to the others.
Do you want to just
Yeah, it's super dark in there.
do you want to just open this door? As long as we don't go in, we're not going in. That's a loophole, right? Lord Taker seems fond of those.
I mean, there's risk in anything, so if you want to glance in there, that's where we're at right now.
Opening it up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open the door.
Okay.
And then immediately like jump 5 feet back.
Have I ever described the click rule to you guys? I
don't think so.
Curse of Strahd. I think I got it,
Yeah,
like,
you have.
the idea of the
You've
click
described it to
rule
us.
on EN World or something. But the idea was that anytime somebody triggers a trap, instead of giving them the roll, just say click. And then they get like one chance without any further information to describe just instinctually what they try to do to avoid the trap. And if they guess right, they can roll the save at advantage. And if they guess wrong, they can roll at a disadvantage.
I like that.
Well,
That's fun.
well, let me put it this way. It's fun, but there's a reason I wouldn't do it in this group. Like, I've had people...
User traps are mean.
Well, no, it's just I've had people, like, jump directly into, like, guillotine blades and...
Again, I say your traps are mean.
They weren't my traps. It was Curse of Strahd. I didn't write the traps. But it was a fun experiment, and I think it works really well in that setting because Ravenloft is supposed to be this sense of dread all the time. But
Yeah.
it's not exactly the sense I'd want to go for in every campaign. If I ever run Ravenloft again... The good news is there's no click when you open the door and look in.
That's good.
It opens into this room that I've uncovered. On the far side of the room, you see another door, slightly offset from the one you've just opened. And all throughout the room, about 2 feet up off the ground, and then maybe 6 feet up off the ground. So just above, like 2 feet off the floor, and then 2 feet away from the ceiling, perhaps. So 2 in every 5-foot square. All the way around the perimeter of the room, you see squares in the walls that looks like they could open or move or slide away somehow. So there's 2 on this wall, 2 on this wall, 2 here, 2 here, and so on all the way around the perimeter of the room, that you can see at least.
At what height are they?
The lower one is about 2 feet off the ground, and the upper one is about 2 feet from the ceiling, give or take. They seem pretty uniform around the room. Other than that, nothing's happening in here.
Hey, Alex, do these look like they're going to shoot darts, arrows, and or magical caustic acid at us?
Can I figure that out from here, or do I have to go
If these
probe
things
them or something?
open and it looks like they absolutely do, you could hide literally anything on the other side of them.
Hey, Scrappy, go take a look at one of those.
All right, let's roll initiative.
You still have the.
Ooh, that's a good roll.
Stop rolling good. It's not allowed.
I didn't roll particularly good on the first initiative. You just everybody else rolled like a 2. Scrappy enters the room, and as soon as he steps into the actual room on the square here, you hear the loud grinding sound of all the squares sliding away, and each one reveals a cavity full of bones, and the bones start flooding out and swirling around the room and forming up into a giant mass. And it is Gus's turn.
We can't see that, but yeah.
You can't see this guy?
There you go.
Okay. I like how they keep adding new features to tabletop, but they don't fix the bugs.
It's not a bug. They do that because, like, you put it down and then, like, the idea is if they're not, like, actively in sight of the fog. It's, yeah, anyway. But it's a feature, not a bug.
Eh,
Whether it's a good feature is in the eye of the beholder.
If you
Anyway,
say so.
so it's just a big swirling vortex of bones.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's starting to form up into limbs and a gigantic chomping mouth.
I'm gonna stand right here,
Mhm.
and I'm going to dodge.
I thought you were just going to say I closed the door. You're going to dodge there, okay?
Right. No, listen. I know Alex has this attitude of I can build another Scrappy, but it won't be the same Scrappy, and Scrappy has a place in my heart.
All right, what's Alex doing?
We're actually on Scrappy number 2. I don't know if you're aware of that. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a shot at this guy. So Alex will
Okay,
level his.
I'm gonna give it the Bone Swarm partial cover because Gus and Scrappy are in your way.
Sure. What is? Do I have to calculate that, or are you taking care of it?
I'll take care of it on my end.
Great. So my first attack with a musket. It's an armor class. Oh. There we go. 24.
24 does hit.
All right. And that'll deal 9 magical piercing.
Okay.
And my second attack hits an armor class of 14.
14 does not hit.
Okay, as a bonus action, Scrappy's going to attack it.
Sure.
Scrappy hits an armor class of, I believe that's plus 10. Yep. 23.
23 does hit.
Plus 4. D8. 4. 12 force damage.
Okay.
And I actually kind of like the way that's positioned. That's the end of my turn.
When you fire the musket into the room, it impacts the giant swarm of bones, and you just send some number of them completely powderized, clattering against the back wall. And same thing with Scrappy rears up, brings down its claws and slashes through this thing, sends another mass of bones skittering across the floor. And you're staying put out there?
Yep.
That's going to bring us to Connor.
All right, check this out. This is gonna be fun.
Are you
I
gonna
am-
shoot it with lightning arrows again?
No, not yet. I want to use as an action Hunter's Sense.
Okay.
You learn their damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are if that creature isn't hidden from divination magic.
So it's definitely a magical construct of some kind. There's definitely magic binding all the bones together, but they do still seem to be bones. Therefore, bludgeoning damage. If you can smash it, especially the big parts of it.
That's what I thought. Because you know why? I use arrows, and they're piercing.
You have to make special bludgeoning arrows.
Yeah, that would be
those
cool. wouldn't it?
exist.
Little fists on the end.
They exist.
They exist, but they're not very good.
Like, what are they? I think they're like they're actually considered magic items that the Artificer can like use an infusion on.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, but there's a reason arrows are shaped like that. Because if you fire one that's just a fist on the end, it won't go.
It's like they do bludgeoning damage and knock the person prone.
Right. Like, man, I tried not to mention this, but I got super obsessed this week because I watched Tenet. And so there's a scene in that movie where somebody gets hit by that backside of a bullet traveling as fast as a bullet travels out of the barrel of a gun. That's what I'm picturing, like, bludgeoning damage from an arrow would have to be. And now I have to take the stream down and stop the game so I can just talk about Tenet with you guys for the next 4 hours.
All right, that is Connor's turn.
So you just cast that spell and relay the information?
Yeah, it's not a spell. It is just a.
It's a class feature.
Yeah, it's just a feature.
Oh, is it a resource? Is it like a recharge, or is that just something you can always do?
I get it back. I can use it 4 times, and I get it back on a long rest.
Okay. Gus, Yashnars is moving through your square. Do you allow him?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Scrappy allow him?
Yeah.
All right. Then he moves directly into the room and lets out an orcish battle cry as he whips out his 2 axes. And we'll make 2 attack rolls at disadvantage. That's a miss. And that's a miss. And you see him just whiff twice. The first time, the first swing of the axe seems to almost unbalance him. And he uses the second swing to almost right him back up, to almost overcorrect for being knocked off balance, which looks like it might be part of the training of an orc who's dual wielding axes to overswing with one arm and then correct with the other arm, but it requires a young orc of considerable strength to make it work. And Yashnars is not that anymore. That's going to bring us to Lucius.
I'm gonna move to here, and I'm gonna draw a bead on this pile of bones, and I'm going to fire some Eldritch Blasts at it.
Okay, I'm going to give it partial cover because you've got Gus and Scrappy in the way.
Certainly. That's a nat 20.
Well, that'll hit.
Looking at 10 force damage from the first hit, from the first shot.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and push it back 10 feet for all the good it does.
You can, but it's a swarm, so it's not
Okay.
really like some individuals from the swarm will be pushed back, but the whole swarm itself cannot be.
And for my second shot, that is a 28.
28 will hit.
I didn't need to roll 2d10. McDohl, what are you doing? That's gonna be. I'll use the lower die. That is 7 force damage from the second hit.
Okay. And again, you're just blowing bones off of the side of this thing, crumbling away in each direction. And moving or staying put?
15, 20, 25. There.
Okay.
Now I'm good.
And you can still see the swirl of the bones in all directions, but it does, you see it move and engulf Yashnars. And that is some damage. Oh, actually, he's larger than I thought. He gets to engulf. Scrappy's only medium, right?
Yeah, Scrappy's.
Okay.
Yes, Scrappy's medium. I can ride him because I'm small.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, Scrappy is engulfed too. Scrappy, I do have to roll to hit. I have a 22 to hit Scrappy.
Yeah.
And Scrappy is also engulfed as this swarm lurches forward towards the door. Yashnars and Scrappy are caught up with it. And there's loud metallic clanks as Scrappy is bludgeoned by tons and tons of these little bones. Scrappy is going to take... ...17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it is grappled by the creature. And that's going to bring us to Gus. Gus, you're standing in the doorway. You just watch this thing swoop over Scrappy and Yashnars, and you see the two of them are caught up in the cloud of it.
All right, I'm going to. All right, I'm going to use my new weapon that is in the shape of a warhammer.
Okay.
And I'm going to booming blade it. If
All right.
bludgeoning damage works, then maybe thunder damage works too.
Well, if, my understanding is that his ranger feature that he used reveals all vulnerabilities. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, then only revealed bludgeoning. Thunder damage he does not have a vulnerability to thunder damage. Only bludgeoning.
Yeah.
It also reveals immunities, though. Is that correct?
Damage immunities, resistances, vulnerability.
Oh, then I'm sorry. I have more information for you. It's immune to poison. It's immune to poison and psychic.
Psychic, huh?
That is a 20 to hit.
20 will hit.
Sorry, this stuff is... Okay, there we go. But I was confused because I've been using D6, D8 for the last forever, and now I'm back up to a D8, D8. So it's 6 bludgeoning damage plus 5, so 11 bludgeoning damage plus 3 thunder damage, and he is enveloped by booming energy.
That sounds awesome. Roll any die. Before you roll it, call even or odd.
Gotcha. Even.
It was odd. Do that one more time. Call even or odd.
Even. And I
It
rolled
was
another
odd.
odd. Yep.
You swing with your warhammer with all your might. There's this big kind of animal skull looming over top of you right in the doorway. You know, I'm going to bust that up. It's no sooner than you do does the swarm open up around your warhammer, and instead of impacting the swarm, you crash against the side of Yashnar's head, and you completely ring his bell.
Okay.
And he just drops limp to the ground inside of this swarm, lurching back and forth. Both of his axes fall from his hands. Moving or staying put?
So I didn't do any damage to the swarm at all. It just killed the Ashnars.
Good job, Gustavus. You killed it.
Wow, isn't that funny, McDohl? You alright?
What's funny, what's hilarious, is that's Razu's weapon that killed the Ashnars.
That's pretty good. I guess that is... It's rather poetic. In a way.
Well,
Gus, moving or staying put?
I guess I'm gonna stay right here. Whoops.
Alex, you're up.
I guess I'll shoot the thing.
Okay.
Go ahead and take a shot. Hits an armor class of 21.
That does hit.
Or
Stacks and damage.
17 magical piercing. A second shot
Okay.
hits an armor class of 16.
16 does not hit. For the first hit, go ahead and roll any die and call even or odd.
Even. It is odd.
It is
Or
odd.
Scrappy.
So go ahead and deal that 17 piercing damage from your shot to Scrappy. As you lower your musket, you take aim just along Gustavus' side, and just as you fire, once again, the bones split. And inside of it, you see Scrappy fighting for footing. And you put a bullet right into the back of its haunch.
Scrappy's action is going to be the aid action to the help action so that I get advantage on my next attack roll against the creature.
Okay. Before you make that decision, he is grappled. And
Mhm.
so you're not using an action to try to escape the grapple. You're fighting.
Oh, if he's grappled, yeah, he'll try and escape.
Okay, so yeah, he
What's his
can't. It's
athletics.
just a standard acrobatics or athletics check.
So he gets an athletics of 13.
13 is not enough to escape.
Okay, that's the end of our turns.
So he attempts to fight his way forward, but the bones keep dragging him back. That's going to bring us to Connor.
Oh man. I am real useless right now.
You have a rapier.
It's also piercing.
Piercing will damage it. It doesn't have any resistances
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
immunities. Or it's immune to
just
poison
weak
and
against
psychic.
bludgeoning.
It has a vulnerability to bludgeoning, which means bludgeoning damage deals twice as much to it.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Because
Yeah.
you said he has no resistances.
Correct.
I still don't want to shoot Yashnor's a Scrappy.
Oh, Yashnar's is down.
But, alright. Bonus action. Yeah, I don't want to lightning strike this, so we'll just do bonus action Slayer's Prey, and let's shoot the bone thing.
Okay.
That is a 26 to hit.
26 will hit.
For... Let's see, that is 11 damage.
11 piercing.
Yep.
Do you have any other attacks?
I have a second one.
Okay.
That is a 17 to hit.
17 will not hit. Arrow goes wide, clatters into the room. Go ahead for the first shot. Roll me any die and call even or odd.
Even.
It's odd.
Nope.
So let's go ahead and give Scrappy 11 more piercing damage as the
I think we need to
bones
start.
split aside and the arrow hits Scrappy in the other haunch.
We need to.
I'm sorry, Scrappy.
We need to call odd.
Connor,
we're-
moving or staying put?
Alright, I'm good.
Okay, I guess we can just get rid of Yashnar's off the initiative order. That's going to bring us to Lucius.
Oh no, I did kill him. Oh my god.
Oh, he's dead. Yes, he's... I'm sorry, did I not make that clear?
20 foot gets me to there, and let's go ahead and take a couple of Eldritch Blast shots at the thingamabobber.
Very good.
That was almost a net 20. That's a 17 to hit.
17 will not hit because you have... I'm giving it partial cover because Gus is still in the way.
Hey, Gus, you're not helping matters. 18. Does an 18 hit?
He just killed Yashnar's. That's what you guys came in here to do. 18
Does an 8?
does not hit.
And you wondered why I was laughing hysterically.
You launch some Eldritch Blasts into the room, but you're aiming around Gus, and you're trying to aim for a spot where you're not going to hit Scrappy, and you don't catch any bone with it.
Yeah. I'm moving back across the other side to try and not to leave myself in line of sight of this thing.
Okay. The bones start to swarm into the hallway, and Gus, you are engulfed inside of them.
Okay, it's a good place to be. I'm in a target-rich environment now.
Let's see if I can grapple you. Gus, I have a 27 to hit you.
That'll do it. Yeah.
You are
Check your AC again.
I mean, my AC is 20 plus
I'm
5.
funning.
So
And you are
27.
Go ahead and take disadvantage on that from deflect attack. Sorry.
okay. Well,
Scrappy can still take reactions while he's engulfed,
You
right?
sure can. It's gonna be a 28 to hit then.
Well, I tried.
Well, I guess technically it stays at 27 then. Gus. "26 points of bludgeoning damage as these bones are just crashing into you from every angle. It's like being caught in a hailstorm, except some of the hailstones are very sharp and pointy. And it's moving, the swarm is moving very slowly, but it is moving consistently towards the doorway, and it looks like it has no compunction to stop there.
Okay.
So Gus, you're grappled by the creature. You can use your action to try to escape, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
Right. So it's my turn now, I think.
It is your turn.
Okay, I need an education.
Mhm.
These attacks. I have a spell called Warding Wind. It is a level 2.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to download the Tasha spells into here. Is it a Tasha spell?
It is not a Tasha spell.
Okay, then it should be right in here. Got it.
Anyway, it's anyway. Warding Wind.
Mhm.
If I cast this, would it, because it whips up a 20-mile-an-hour wind around me, would it affect these relatively light bones?
It would affect the entire swarm, by my read. It's a concentration spell. It says the wind is a 10-foot radius and moves with you. You're inside the swarm of the creature. So, yeah, the entirety of the creature would be inside of this spell. So you're deaf, the creature's deaf, Scrappy is deaf. Scrappy's lantern goes out. It won't disperse it because it's not vapor, gas, or fog.
Okay.
The area counts as difficult terrain for it and Scrappy, and attack rolls of ranged weapons have disadvantage if the attacks pass through this wind.
Well, see, that's the thing I was confused about. That's the main thing, is
So-
because they're floating bones that are flying through the air. That's what.
So when your companions attempt to attack the creature, they're firing through the range of your warding wind, so they're making those rolls a disadvantage.
But it won't affect the
It won't.
bones.
Probably not, because they're not ranged attacks. They're melee
Okay,
attacks.
that's what I was wondering. So I'm just going to hit the thing
Okay,
with my hammer.
sure. It probably will not like that.
Does a 26 hit?
Sure does.
And I'm going to go ahead and just make this a booming blade. That's 7 plus 5 points of bludgeoning damage, so 12.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 thunder damage, and if it moves, it's going to take an extra 2d8 thunder damage.
Okay. Is that your only attack, or do you have another one coming?
Bonus action
Okay. Is Booming Blade not your bonus action?
No, booming blade is my attack, and then as a class feature, I can, if I cast a cantrip. I think
That's
it's-
right.
It's either,
I remember now. Gotcha.
later it turns into if I cast a spell, but right now it's just cantrip.
Disgusting.
So it's 16 to hit.
16 will not hit. So for your first hit for the Booming Blade, why don't you go ahead and roll me a die and call even or odd?
Odd. Gosh, darn it.
So you Booming Blade, not a Booming Hammer, really. And you're thinking you're inside of the thing. So just a long horizontal arc with your hammer ought to break a lot of these bones. But the thing twists under your feet and moves Scrappy directly into the path of your hammer. So we'll go ahead and apply that, 12 bludgeoning plus 4 thunder damage to Scrappy. And if Scrappy moves on its next turn, it gets more thunder damage. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2d8.
Okay. And Gus is still swept up inside of the creature. That's going to bring us to Alex.
So my first attack gets advantage, so this will be a sharpshooter. That's a crit.
Oh,
Oh,
Let's find out if it's scrappy. Oh wait, no, it landed wrong. It rolled after I moved the other die out of the way. So that'll hit an armor class of, I believe 22. Yep, 22.
He's like, it's a crit. No, wait, I might not want to crit. I gotta change that. Change reality. Oh, yeah, 22 will hit.
Okay. Let's go ahead and call. Do I have to do the damage before I call the even or odds?
Let's see what the damage is first. That's funnier for me.
Sure. So that'll do 21 magical piercing, and I'll call odd
Okay.
and get a 9.
All right. So, yeah, you lever your musket, and this time you wait for a moment. You just saw the things moving Scrappy around so that Gus would accidentally hit it. And in that moment, you aim for a different part of the swarm, and you manage to get off a good shot.
How beaten up are you, Gus?
2/3. Like I've got 2/3 of my hit points.
So that causes a burst of magical healing energy, however that works, for a 11 healing to Gus.
Okay.
It's like his gun pops up a little spray nozzle and just.
Whoa, is that what spell is that?
That's a class feature called Arcane Jolt.
Okay.
Second shot at the creature. Not a sharpshooter, hits an armor class of 28
28 does hit.
for 11 magical piercing, odd, hits something.
Did you roll even or odd?
I rolled even.
Oh, okay. Do it again. Call even or odd.
Odd,
And
also
it's
even.
Even. So let's go ahead and apply that 11 piercing damage to Scrappy instead.
Okay, and Scrappy's down.
And Scrappy falls to the ground, no longer moving. You moving or
I
staying
guess
put?
I've got a bonus action for once then. Let's see if I have anything to do. Sorry, I wasn't planning on that. Let me see if there's anything I can do with my bonus action. No, that's it for me then.
Okay.
Sorry.
Moving or staying put?
I'm alright where I am.
Scrappy doesn't operate on death saves or anything, does it?
No.
Okay. So it's effectively it's just dead then.
Yeah, it's a construct.
Gotcha.
So.
The swarm moves itself and Gus partway out of the door. So right now the swarm is whipping around directly in front of Lucius and Alex, but neither of you are inside of the creature's threat range yet. That means that Gus is still inside of the creature's threat range. Gus, I've got a 17 to hit.
That doesn't hit, no.
And a 29 to hit.
That'll hit. What is the hit bonus on this thing? Very high.
It's going to be 23 points of bludgeoning damage from the bones, as they're dragging you forward against your will and clattering all sides against you.
Yeah, I don't want any part of this.
Apparently Gus does, though. Speaking of Gus, it is your turn.
Okay, since I'm alone now, I'm going to.
Did I get skipped?
Did you? I didn't mean to.
Alexander.
Oh, you're way down here. Yeah, you probably did get skipped. My bad. Would you
Connor
like...
got skipped too. It looks like.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Burker's just so eager to murder people.
You... Listen.
It's okay, I didn't want to turn anyway.
Level 9 heroes are so strong, I could only win if I cheat. My apologies, Connor, please. Kill my innocent monster who did nothing wrong.
It's alright. The way I'm going, I'm more likely to kill my party members, so... is there anything I can do to help Gus get out of the bone?
Yeah, you can attempt to break the grapple. With a strength...
I can
with
help him.
Opposed strength athletics check between you and the monster. You're good at strength, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm speedy. I'm Dexy.
Okay.
I'm not strength.
Unfortunately, your acrobatics does not avail you to break somebody else's grapple. That roll is for you to slip out of a grapple.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm real good at that stuff. And if I thought that I could even swap places with Gus, I would totally do that. But I guess I'm
fine.
gonna. All right. Gonna take a step back, and let's fire some arrows at definitely not Gus.
Definitely not Gus.
I'll be using bonus action Slayer's. Do I need to do that? Yeah, Slayer's Spray.
Okay.
That is, well, 13 to hit, which I don't think hits.
13 will not hit.
But I got a second arrow.
It no longer has partial cover, though.
That is a whopping 29 to hit.
29 will hit.
Yeah, an 18 didn't hit.
Oh gosh, that is 15 damage. 15 piercing.
15 piercing. Go ahead and roll me a die and call even or odd.
Even.
Okay. Gus takes 15 piercing damage. It's one of Connor's arrow.
Do I get the extra damage from the hunter's mark since I'm not the one he marked?
No.
Oh, all right.
Because the hunter's mark thing applies to a particular creature, yes?
Yeah.
And you didn't damage that particular creature. This would be like if you marked creature A, then attacked creature B would not get the extra damage. I'm understanding that correctly?
Yep.
Okay. Then just because you hit Gus accidentally doesn't mean the mark transfers over. Unless you want to transfer it there. But I don't see why you would.
It's tempting, but good news, Gus. It's only 10 damage.
Only 10 damage.
Only 10 damage.
Alright, I'm down to like 1/3 of my hit points.
All right. Don't worry. You'll be fine.
Connor, moving or staying
Yeah.
put?
Oh, I'm good here. Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring us to Lucius.
Let's see, 5, 10.
Standing next to the thing, you are not in its threat range. It doesn't have reach to hit you at 5 feet.
Yeah.
So you can back away safely.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take an aim at this definitely thing, and it is definitely also not Gus. For the Eldritch Blast.
Sure.
That's only 14 to hit.
14 does not hit.
Hang on, does that class feature work the way that I think it does?
I hope your class feature works. They kind of suck if you have a class feature and it just doesn't
it's
work.
ability checks. It's not an attack bonus. Never mind. Let's go ahead and take a second shot. Really, game? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna burn 2 blips because I really do need to hit this.
Oh, the blips are burning.
19 to hit.
19 will hit.
All right. I am dealing 14 points of damage to even. I'm calling even. Gustavus. Hey Gustavus, guess what? You're getting pushed 10 feet.
So 14 points of damage?
Yeah, 14 points of Gustavus, and he is pushed 10 feet.
So Gus, you are blown out the back of the creature from the force of the Eldritch Blast that totally just damaged you.
See, it's totally fine.
So Lucius, you saw the opening in the creature, threw your blast through it with enough force to throw Gus out the backside of it.
See, the way I see it, I'm either throwing the creature back or I'm throwing Gustavus back.
Works either way.
Alright, so
It
since the
works.
creature win, it's my turn, right?
Well, Lucius' turn is not over yet.
It is now.
Okay, then it would be the creature's turn. The creature already murdered Gus. Now it's Gus's turn.
Ow.
At least you didn't like smack into the back wall, because I think that's extra damage.
Gus is going to... He's going to step forward.
Mm-hmm. Climbing over Scrappy and Yashnar's.
Yashnar's is...
Oh, he's laying there very dead. You opened the side of his head with your hammer. I cannot stress how dead Yashnar's currently is.
Brickro did not want to deal with Yashar dungeon.
I'm so upset about Yashnar's. Okay, anyway.
Why? This is literally what you brought him here for. For
Not
some
for me to do it.
Gus, listen. What happened happened. You can't change it now.
Gonna nominate Gus for the badass flip for murdering Yashnar.
Who furthered the party's goals the most?
All right, let me think about this for just a second.
Okay.
He's still trying to get over Yashnars.
I kind of love that this character has been like a somewhat important character in 2 campaigns running. And we know everything about his whole life. You met him as an old man, then you met him as a middle-aged man, you met him as a very young man, and then his death is just completely anticlimactic.
I know, right? Like, I feel bad for the guy, honestly.
Thump.
You guys promised he would go out in a blaze of glory on the battlefield, and just caves his head in.
All right, I'm taking 2 swings with my hammer. The first one is a nat 1. The second attack is a 21 to hit.
21 will hit. And there is nobody currently inside the swarm.
Right, for 8 magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Then
And
I'm
the
going
thing
to
is
bonus. Yeah, he's bloodied.
There's just bits of fragment and powderized bone just littering the floor. You've reduced the swarm to about 2/3 of its size. It is definitely bloodied.
Okay, now I'm going to bonus action second wind.
Sure.
No, wait, that's a D10. All right, that's going to be 12 hit points. Not too bad.
Okay.
Then I'm going to action surge. And I'm going to do a booming blade.
Okay.
That is that's way higher than 18, so 18 plus 9 math. That's 27.
Math will hit.
That's 8 bludgeoning and 13 bludgeoning and 8 thunders. That's max damage.
Nice. And with a mighty swing, I mean, you're aiming at this giant animal skull that's been harassing you the whole time, and you just put your hammer directly through it, crush it to 1,000 pieces, and it clatters against the wall beside you.
Is it dead?
Nope, the swarm's still here.
Okay. My special bonus action to do another melee attack.
Okay.
That is a 24 to hit.
That'll hit.
That is 9 more bludgeoning damage.
Okay. I gotta get calc.exe for this. A lot of damage is flying around. And Gus, moving or staying put after your second attack?
We're just gonna...
Let's move around the
Thumbs
corner.
up. Yeah, thumbs up for me.
Standing where you are now, you see the opening in the wall with this little square, or I'm sorry, the 2 openings next to you. And glancing into one, what's your passive perception?
13. So above average. But
Okay.
not amazing.
Glancing into them, just the recess seems to go back a few feet and then connect to a chute that goes upwards. That's going to bring us to Alex.
All right. So, does this thing have a threat range outside of being inside of it?
No, you can safely move away from it. It has to move on
Yeah,
top of you to do
let's-
anything.
Don't forget you have that cutlass.
Yeah, I know, but my gun does more damage, and I don't want to get swarmed.
I'm just reminding you.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about stabbing it, but I think it's better to go over here and spread out. And then I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I want to do anything. Bonus action, Alex pulls a ruined bullet off of his belt and loads it into his gun.
Okay.
That's casting what's it called? Warding Smite? Branding Smite.
Okay. This is a paladin spell, yeah?
Well, it's Artificer for me.
Okay.
And then let's make an attack roll. That'll hit an armor class of 21.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and we're going to put Branding Smite on this, and we're going to put Arcane Jolt on this. That's an extra 2d6 Radiant and 2d6 Force. So that does a total of 7 magical piercing, 5 radiant, and 14 force.
And that's enough. You put the shot in this creature, and whatever magical bindings were holding the swarm in place, swirling around, disperse, casting bones clattering in all directions. Some of them fire backwards into the room, clattering against Gus's armor. A handful of them shower against Lucius and Connor against the far wall, and then no small amount goes rolling down the slope past you. And the thing falls quiet.
Connor goes over and looks at Yashnar's body.
Very, very
okay.
dead.
He'll be okay, right?
I think that's something.
Connor's about to cast Cure Wounds on him and thinks better of it.
So Alex
on the ground there
pulls out his toolkit and starts hammering Scrappy. Level 1 spell in 1 minute. He'll be back.
Okay, let's
Hey,
go
Gus,
ahead
get over
and
here.
take our 15-minute break here. My dog is whining at my feet. She wants to go outside.